Hi, this is Lynn,
And this is Paul, and we are
along the way.
Glad to have you with us again for this installment, and we're going to take a break.
We're interrupting our top tens because we have found that there are a few people who don't know what along the way is and why we call it that, and what these black furry things are on us. Start off with the black furry things. Those are our mics.
Yep. And the furry thing is basically a wind and breath muffler.
Right.
So anyways, you'll see those as a regular accoutrement attached to us.
So along the way is a ministry we started up for our retirement years. Paul has been in ministry of redevelopment and stuff for all 40 years of ministry.
And while she says Paul has been, she has been right there with me every step of the way, and it would not have happened without her. And I know she knows that, but you're often couples in ministry. So what we do is along the way, we do as a couple.
And we happen to love camping. And so we purchased a travel trailer that is large enough for us to be comfortable in with our 50-pound dog, and to travel to different churches to lend a hand and do some of our ministry. Most of his coaching, of course, is via Zoom and FaceTime. So that doesn't matter where you live.
Yep.
You know, we can the modern age, we can do these things now. That's fantastic.
But often it's very desirable to come in person to a local church setting, to work directly with the leadership and or the congregation. And so we can bring our camper and plug into electric and water, and otherwise we're pretty well self-sustained. And we'll stay for a short time. You know, it might be a weekend, it might be a week, probably no more than two. And then we remain available for coaching via Zoom or whatever after that.
Yeah, we even have a friend who told us that they couldn't go on vacation from their church because the church couldn't afford to pay the guest speaker. And we thought, well, hey, why don't we loan the pastor our trailer and truck, or drive the trailer to a location and let them have a vacation, and we can stay at their place and Paul can preach Sunday morning for them.
Yeah.
At no cost.
Yeah, we want to do this at no cost to the local church. And if the local church takes up a love offering, that's fine. But we want to do this for the church that's struggling and can't afford the coaching and the help that's out there. And very often, as you know, the programs for church turnaround are often aimed for churches of 100, 200 and up. We want to come alongside the churches that are below 100. We're welcome to work with any church, but especially those that are below 100 and they can't afford the help. Well, we want to offer that free of charge. So perhaps you should speak a little bit to how we can do that, because we're not rich.
No. But we are getting people to sponsor and support us, and so that we are free to do that. We've cut our expenses down as low as we can. Unfortunately, with the price of gas, we have to allocate a lot of money to tow the trailer around. So, but we have prayer supporters and we have financial supporters, and most of our financial supporters are also prayer supporters.
Right.
And they give us so much monthly, and that's how we raise our support, and we're a third of the way there.
Yeah. And we rejoice in that, because officially we have only launched along the way since the beginning of February. And here we are in
month later.
Yeah, a month later, and we've reached a third of our monthly support that is needed.
Yeah, well, it's actually 31%.
31%,
So it's
so-
not quite 33.3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're close. And we'll get there. And we're confident because we know God has called us to this, and God provides when He calls, and we're obedient and faithful to Him.
So the key is that we want to minister with what God has shown us over the years. We also try to keep our pulse on what is new and coming out and what's happening in churches and new growth and things like that. So we've always kept ourselves pretty
up to date
with things. So it's not just what we did in 1950. Of course, I wasn't born then. So,
But she's right. We are about helping God's church prosper, become all that God intended it to be. And each decade, each generation brings its own changes and its own challenges. And so we've wanted to stay abreast of what God is doing in today's world.
and Paul is in the process of starting a book on this plan he's developed to help congregation and pastor figure out where they're at as a church and what the steps they need to take to move forward.
It's going to be a very practical tool. It's not going to be a large tome. It's going to be very readable, very user-friendly, and I hope it's going to be a real blessing to a lot of churches.
And we found that, and we couldn't find the exact statistics, but the last we remember, the statistics were that 95% of the American churches were 100 or less. And of that 95%, 75%
Roughly, the
was
vast majority.
50 or less.
Yeah.
So that's the statistic of the churches in America. Yes, there's mega churches with a lot large congregations and satellite churches and all of that, and praise God, that works. But the greatest majority are these small churches, and unfortunately, the church growth material tends to be for churches of 200 plus. And also it's very expensive to coach.
Easily you could be spending $500
an hour.
And there's no way. I mean, most churches, 100 or less, 200 or less, they see something like that and they'll just turn the other way.
It's just not doable.
Right.
So we're standing in the gap. This is what God has called us to. We've been praying and preparing for it for the past 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And it's little steps, and now we're in it.
and even though we're based in Florida, we do not want distance either to be something that prevents us coming to you. So contact us, please. If we can be of help, we want to be. Lord willing, down the road we'll be developing a team that'll be larger than ourselves.
Yeah, we have a few other pastors that have spoken to us about possibly being a part of along the way.
Yeah.
And so eventually there'll be a whole team of pastors that will be able to do this and help other churches.
Yep.
So
that's a little bit about us and why we're called along the way, and why we do what we do. We want to be a blessing to you and to your congregation.
So, this is Lynn.
And this is Paul. And we are
Along the Way.
Goodbye for now, and when you see us next time, we'll be tackling number 4 on our list of top 10 reasons churches resist change. So join us for that.
All right.
God bless.
Bye-bye.